All right, pile on listeners. We are back after Week 8 and the NFC North has wrapped up and a lot to talk about. 75% of the people talking on this episode will obviously not be happy, but there's a complete reversal from last weekend when the 75% were happy and one was sad. Now that one guy is sad and the other three are happy. Regardless, this is an NFC North podcast, and I'm Big Z representing the Detroit Lions. Let's go around the horn. We got Kinger representing the Pack.
I'm going to have to eat a lot of crow tonight, boys. I realize I made some comments on the previous episode that are probably going to be addressed at some point, but we'll handle it. It is what it is. Rough day for the Pack.
And we got Barney representing the Bears.
These beers are, they're all I got right now, boys.
And then last but not least, we got Remy representing the Vikings.
When the kitchen's open, the chef's got to eat. Skull, baby.
Oh, man. And I think you're talking about Dalvin Cook in particular, right, Remy? So just
Indeed.
What a monster day. 30 carries, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 2 catches for 63 yards, including a 50-yard touchdown reception. Just let's go
4
right into it.
touchdowns.
So obviously the Vikings went. The Vikings went 28-22. Just go in. What did the Vikings do so well against this Packers team, Remy? What did you enjoy so much?
You know, is seeing what they could exploit and doing it so early and consistent with it. You know, Packers get the ball right out of the gate, score. Rodgers eats our rookie corner up, expected. Now, us as Viking fans want to know how Kirk and our offense responds to that. March it right down the field. I know the winds were like crazy today, so there wasn't a lot of deep balls. And like Kirk had mentioned last press conference or sometime during the week, he told media members that he needs to maybe just not try and hit home runs, how to dink and dunk. And you saw a lot of that going down the field today. A lot of running with Dalvin, and it was back and forth. And yeah, Dalvin is Dalvin proved today that this identity, this team runs through him. He's the playmaker. Four touchdowns and over 200 all-purpose yards. Man, he's a fun one to watch.
Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, Kirk Cousins only had 14 pass attempts, Remy.
And again, we had our fourth and once Dantzler got out, I think our third and fourth or fifth string corner. And I think when you get Rodgers just in the pocket and you don't let him scramble to try and make plays, I think that's when, you know, nothing's available to him. And Eric Kendricks probably played one of his better games. He had like 10 tackles by halftime and
12 total. Yeah.
Yeah, 12 total. And it's great. Yeah, I'm kind of still in shock. Kirk did what he had to do. He only passed it 14 times, 160 yards and a touchdown. Didn't turn the ball over, didn't fumble, didn't try and force anything. So I think when you play conservative and you can get your run game going, that might be the key to Green Bay and any team, quite frankly.
Yeah, so Kinger, I specifically asked you on the last episode about the Packers' run defense. You said you weren't worried. So what the hell happened here? What's going on?
I couldn't have been more wrong about how I thought this game was going to go today. And quite frankly, I'm just honestly disgusted with the defensive effort today. If you can give a rating, the defense deserves an F. We had some very unique circumstances today in Green Bay. Obviously, everybody saw how windy it was out there, up to 40-mile-an-hour gusts. They were saying the first half was the lowest number of possessions in an NFL game since 2010. 5 possessions, actually. The first 4, Green Bay goes down, scores a touchdown. Minnesota scores a touchdown. Green Bay scores a touchdown. Minnesota scores a touchdown. Then there was one play to round out the first half. So, not a lot of back and forth, right? Heavy time of possession. And Dalvin ran all over us. Our guys were not – they didn't look fired up at all. They didn't look like they were ready to go. They didn't put themselves in positions to make plays today. It was just extremely frustrating. The linebacker position, Kamal Martin showed flashes again that he looked great, but we're really missing a run stuffer. And our defensive line outside of Kenny Clark, provided little to no support today. It was extremely rough across the board. And The Vikings obviously saw that they were going to be able to capitalize that on early, and they just ran us into the ground. And it was just, again, extremely frustrating to watch. And the defense, I could get going on a whole tangent about that because there's a lot going on there right now.
Yeah,
I guess I have a question. I don't know if you guys watched, but does this, with our guys and our scheme, what we're running defensively, does that kind of give you a little thing like, oh, Minnesota still kind of has a defense, even though we're out our key players? Like, this is still, what do you guys think of our defense after watching them outplay Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers?
See, I don't really look at it that way, Remy. The Vikings beat us today, but realistically, I mean, they made a couple stops in the second half. But, Green Bay's offense as a whole today didn't look they didn't look terrible to me, right? It wasn't their best performance, but I wasn't overly upset with that from a perspective, right? Minnesota did have playmakers. I was surprised we weren't able to capitalize on your corners being as banged up as they were and your other strings. But I think you got to give credit to Zimmer there as well because he schemed Devontae very well today. Devontae had been absolutely shredding Minnesota the last 3 or 4 times they played. Double-digit catches, 100-plus receiving yards, and, that was not the case today. 2 early touchdowns, obviously, but for the most part, they kept him very neutralized.
Except for the three touchdowns he had today.
Yeah, well, you know what but just in regards to, he was an impact player in the game, but as a whole, he didn't have the numbers across the board that he has previously, and I think Zimmer did a pretty good job on that. I'm going to give credit, yeah. But the Packers defense is there's boys, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of questions going around with Pettin already coming up after the game today. It's very hot right there. Or a lot of questions are going to go. And, like you just mentioned, that formula that Minnesota just had today, we're going to a place on Thursday where we have not had a lot of success over the last few years. And I can see if another performance like that happens in a few days, then that conversation is really going to heat up.
Trade deadline's Wednesday, right? Tuesday?
Tuesday. Election day. Same day. Yeah. So, there'll be a lot going on Tuesday in the world, both in NFL and just the USA. But
so I will say this though. I will say that if you're Minnesota, I mean, and you're probably thinking the same thing. Like, you just beat a top team in the NFL. Do you where do you go from here? Do you keep going, or do you still? It's tough to say. I know the back half we still have to play Detroit twice, and we still have to play the Bears twice, and like the Jaguars. And if Minnesota can find that identity and play, there's there's a 4% chance, but Minnesota could maybe make a little run off this momentum, but we'll take it week by week for now.
Barney, what was Remy over here not just less than a week ago talking about the draft? And now he's talking about a 4% chance in the playoffs. Where's this guy's head at? Where should the Vikings be?
The roller coaster of Remy's emotions is truly a spectacle, but I couldn't be happier for him. Having the Bears game on later, I was able to watch, and it was, that was the only part of my Sunday that I enjoyed, and it was a fun game to watch, and especially it's always a lot easier to enjoy it when the Packers are getting their shit handed to them. So, I'm happy for Remy, especially after Kinger's comments leading up to the game. That was funny, but I don't know what we're gonna get next week with him.
Remy, I meant to ask you really quick. Cam Dantzler, I saw get stretchered off the field. I haven't had a chance to research his status. What's going on there? Anything?
So followed up. I think it was something with his neck. It came back good. Whatever that means. So nothing serious. I'm sure that the press conference tomorrow they'll elaborate more, but everything came back well, and he didn't injure anything too seriously.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
But I guess we'll.
You're another corner. I saw your other corner. I forget who it was. He got hurt. He's got a punctured lung. He's still in Green Bay right now, though. I just saw that actually.
Jesus.
on a cleat. I forget who it was. It was Mike. He's one of your backups. What happened in like the third quarter on the catch to Equanimous St. Brown on the 4th down play. He was down for a while. It didn't look bad, but yeah, I just yes, Fields. Yeah, it
Mark
was
Fields. Mark Fields.
Mark Fields. Yep, exactly.
Dude, he's like our 6th. Yeah, he's like our 5th. Oh my goodness, yeah. Actually, he came up from our practice squad last year. He was on our practice squad last year.
I like that the Lions are playing the Vikings next week, so I do like that aspect.
This will be fun. This will be fun, Big Z, back to back.
We'll get into that later, though. I mean, Kinger, was it just is the whole reason that the Packers lost this game the defense, or was there some offensive blame to share as well here?
I mean, I don't want to put it all on defensive shoulders, but there was absolutely no intensity from the defense at all. And I mean, the Vikings stepped up and made a couple stops in the second half, which did influence the factor of the game. But I don't know what the hell we're doing on defense, man. And I'm just gonna keep harping on it. I don't know if you guys saw, but some of the shit we're doing out there, it's like I'll repeat it. I'm no X's and O's guy with football out there, but 3-man rushes today on that 4th down. You run a 3-man rush. We've got one point. We got Preston Smith lined up on the far side of the field, 9 yards off the line of scrimmage, 1-on-1 on Kyle Rudolph. Right? Like, what the hell is Mike Pettin doing? That just doesn't make sense. That's not what his skill set is. Across the board, we just continue to have some questionable calls. I don't think our defensive line for the most part as a whole has to perform better. They've shown flashes, but again, outside of Kenny Clark, just nothing. And it's just I don't know what the hell we're doing out there. It's the offense will click. Getting Aaron Jones back will be nice. I think Alan Lazard should be back this week for the Thursday night game. So I'm not overly worried about. Hopefully Bakhtiari as well. I'm not overly worried about that. The Vikings they made plays today, and quite frankly, the defense. I said it. The defense. If the defense even remotely showed up, I thought it was going to be, a blowout. I can't really say that was going to be the case anymore. But still, it was just, pathetic performance. Really, there's no other way really to say about it. And they got to make changes in these next couple days.
So, what changes do you want to see? Change the personnel or change in scheme?
I mean, I think we got to evaluate the scheme. Personnel will be a little bit better coming back. Christian Kirksey should be coming back. Kevin King will be back. We'll get some of our guys back in the mix. But again, some of these schemes are just very questionable to me. I just don't understand it, and it doesn't seem like we're putting our guys in the best position to make plays based on their skill sets.
Remy.
So looking ahead at the schedule real quick, you guys will get a kick out of this. So next week, so this week it was me and Kinger against each other. Next week it's me and Big Z, Detroit, and then the following week it's Barney. So it's the 1-2-3 punch. I might just have to roll through and take each team out. We'll start with Green Bay.
Oh boy. Oh man, you're something else though. When the Vikings win,
it's always great to beat the Packers. It never happens. So when we beat the Packers, we cherish it. We talk about it and go Vikings. Every Viking fan up in Minnesota will go to sleep with a smile on their face and wake up with one as well.
Yeah,
they handed LaFleur his first NFC North loss as a head coach of the Packers. So there we go.
That was his
first divisional loss. Yep. So
damn.
Yeah.
He's off to a pretty good start, I'd say then.
No complaints there.
Man. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers 27-41, 3 touchdowns, no picks, sacked once, and I think that was the last one of the game, the last play of the game. So not a bad performance passing-wise.
Some drops by receivers today. EQ.
He did miss a wide open tight end over the middle. I mean,
I was going to say
wide open.
That was the one play today that I think Aaron obviously knows he made a poor throw.
And that changes the whole game if he catches that. Whole game that changes.
Yeah, Rodgers obviously has had some throws like that over the years, and that was just one of them. It was bad. Again, had some drops. I wish he would have hit Bob Tunyon on the, that wind, I think, took that ball a little bit on that diving catch that he made. I think that could have been a touchdown as well. I think the Vikings did. I'm not one to complain against the refs, but the Vikings, I think, get a couple little bailout calls there in the second half, a couple of pass interference calls. On that fourth down, Anthony Harris.
It balanced out with your guys' calls as well.
Again, I don't think the refs would have influenced this game today, so I'm not going to complain on it too much. But
towards the end, they called, what was it?
That fourth down, that flag should not have been picked up on Rodgers' fourth down. That was pass interference on Anthony Harris. That was definitely. That's the only one I'll really argue. That's the only one I'll really argue with you. Jair one I think was right. We'll see. It is what it is. It wouldn't have impacted the game today. That's for sure. Packers stunk.
There was only one last question about this game, just to Kinger here. What was that last pass to Tanyan before the last play of the game? I didn't understand that they ran it was like a 15-yard pass, but it took like 20 seconds off the clock. They had no time. I'm just trying to think
and they couldn't get to the line, and he had to tell Aaron Jones.
It wasn't like a route to the outside, like to like the sideline. It was a route like at the hash and like a little inside the hash even. Like it was clearly going to take a lot of time. I didn't understand why the Packers ran that play, especially when it only got to the 40-yard line.
I couldn't even begin to. I don't know the answer to that either, to be honest. It was obviously questionable, but at that point, it was already you already felt that the game was already kind of determined.
I gotcha. Well, Kinger, the Packers got a short week and a long travel to San Francisco. So they're going to have to fix things really quick on the defensive end. Luckily, San Francisco looked like horseshit today, ruining one of my best bets in the process. But like you said, Green Bay, bad history with San Francisco, especially a team that loves to run the ball in a creative way. They're going to be licking their chops maybe after seeing this game. And congratulations to you, Remy. Taking a big sip over there, big victory sip.
That was a win for all of us, Remy. I appreciate that.
Anytime Minnesota's here, all heroes don't wear capes. We wear purple.
That's very true. Well, not the purple part, but we get it. All right, let's just move on to. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this one. It was a fucking utter disaster in Detroit today. Detroit just lost their 7th straight home game in a row. Granted, three of those have been without fans. But man, 41-21 loss. The Lions take it home to the Indianapolis Colts. Did anybody tune into this game for a little bit? And it was bad, but it wasn't.
I think just on the red zone.
There was 2 bad quarters. Literally, the box score goes 0 points for Indianapolis in the first quarter, 20 in the second, none in the third, 21 in the fourth quarter. It was 20-14. The Lions had the ball at the Indianapolis 25, and then it all went downhill quickly after that. The Lions had not fumbled all year until the midway through the third quarter in this game, like setting an NFL record for an amount of snaps without a fumble. And they chose the worst time to do it. Stafford gets strip sacked. The Indianapolis Colts get the ball back. They score a touchdown. Matt Stafford comes back on the field, throws a pick six. It was a quick button hook to the outside to the numbers, and he was not looking before he threw it, and the guy was just sitting there, easy walk-in touchdown. So the Lions go from an opportunity to take a lead to being down 21 points in about 4 minutes. Just an absolute brutal change of events. I mean, this is all around bad. This is the type of stuff that makes you think Matt Patricia might be fired in a week or two type situation when he hasn't. This is a great opportunity, especially with what went on in the Bears and Packers. With the Bears and Packers, a great opportunity to jump back into the division race, and this is just a huge step back. And I mean, Stafford 24-42, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, but he was all over the place today. That's a lot of garbage time, touchdown and yardage there. I'm not the worst thing about I'm talking a lot about the Lions offense today. It was worse than the defense because at least the defense stepped up every once in a while. But the offense today, 29 yards rushing. Adrian Peterson 5 for 7. DeAndre Swift 6 carries for 1 yard.
How many times did they rush Peterson?
5 times for 7 yards.
And carry on. So how many touches did carry on get?
Carry on, I think, has 1 carry on the year, let alone getting a touch. He did not get a touch in this game. He did have a touchdown catch, but Kerryon Johnson did not have any carries. He hasn't had one in like 4 weeks.
So why won't Detroit at least try the running game out? Because you have a talented backfield.
Yes, but if you're watching this game, the run game was a clusterfuck. Like it just a shit show. It was bad. Constantly getting hit in the backfield. No holes whatsoever. DeAndre Swift looks like he's carrying a 20-pound sled behind him now. Whatever sort of spring in his step he had at the beginning of the season, it's gone. And he needs to be relegated like 3 to 5 carries a game. DeAndre Swift should be getting 15 to 20. No Lions fan can comprehend why this is going on. Barney, yeah, go ahead. Step in here for me.
Yeah, I got to ask you, Big Z. We're talking about the run game here for you guys. I mean, did you really expect there to be one? I mean, the front seven for the Colts is really all they have to offer as a team. And they're one of the more dominant guys, especially now that they have Darius Leonard back. To me, it was always going to be, a game that was going to live and die by the arm of Matt Stafford, right? I mean, is that what you expected at least?
Well, not quite, just because the Lions' run offense is playing pretty well the last 3-4 weeks. It hasn't been terrible, but this is exceptionally awful today. I'd expect this level of bad from their run offense. I mean, this is
looking at
really, really bad.
Pretty unique box score here, too. The Lions or the Colts scoring all their points in the second and fourth quarter, because I saw Detroit had got off to a 7-0 lead early. I saw Stafford through a touchdown catch, but what happened, Big Z? Just really some just bad lapses of play there by the Lions.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was 20-14. I mean, midway through the third quarter, and then Stafford gets that strip sack, and then the Colts score at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then the pick six. So went 20-14 to 35-14 in a matter of 4 minutes. But at least in the second quarter there. Matt Prater at the end of the first half shanked a 50-yard field goal, like 30 yards to the left. I don't even know what the hell. He's missed one a game this year. He's not what he has been the last few years for us. But there was one play in this game that really pisses me off, and Danny Shelton sacked the quarterback on 3rd and long, clear sack, and he fell down with the quarterback like through the whistle. There was a whistle, then he kind of was tangled up and fell down with the quarterback. And the ref throws a flag for a personal foul, saying it was too aggressive with the quarterback. This is such bullshit. It gave him a free play, a free first down, and then they scored 3 plays later. It was completely unwarranted. I can't find words right now. I'm just so frustrated with that personal foul call. It makes no sense. Maybe we'll show it later in the week or something on Instagram, just how ridiculous this personal foul call was. But it cost us 7 points and a lot of momentum that we had riding in this game. I'm not going to blame that one play. Justin Coleman came back off the IR for the first time in 5 weeks. Terrible. He looked terrible. He got beat by a running back down the sideline. He got flagged for a pass interference in the end zone. It was questionable. It was pretty ticky-tack, but some refs call it, some don't. That one's more excusable than the personal foul. That's the one I can't get out of my mind, how bad that was. Matt Stafford missed some easy throws in this one, too. A couple to T.J. Hawkinson, no less. But Matt Stafford also made some brilliant throws in this game. You take the good and the bad with Matt Stafford. He threw a 70-yard pass in this game, literally 70 yards in the air in this game to Marvin Hall. It was late in the game. It was a 3rd and long. That's why he threw it, but I want to see more of that. Unfortunately, Stafford's long ball has been on and off. I could go on and on about this team, but I'm really focusing on the offense here right now. We'll focus on the defense later. Romeo Okwara stepped up again, another big sack. He's having a huge year. He must have done some roids in the offseason or something because he's a way significantly better player than we've ever seen him.
Contract years. Is he on a contract year?
No. He just signed one last year, so he's good.
Gotcha.
Maybe he's just trying to show off to his brother who we drafted, but his brother's on IR. And actually, this is one of Jeff Okudah's best games. They barely threw to him. He had a nice play on a 4th and short to turn the ball over in the backfield. He on a corner blitz. So that was a positive sign. I'm trying to think of the positives. Our rookie defensive tackle, John Penasini, is one of the highest rated D tackles, at least on rush defense, is what the Lions badly needed. And he's been stepping up really well. And that's what I like about our matchup next week, Remy, with the Vikings. If they're, if the way they're going to succeed is through running the ball, I'm really confident in the Lions' ability to stop the run. That's never been my issue.
We'll see.
The Colts had 120 yards, but a lot of that was in the fourth quarter with backups in. So
if you guys stop the run, it might have to be a Justin Jefferson show. There might be a Jet show there in the Motown.
Well, we'll talk about the battle of rookies later, but Okudah and Jefferson will be a fun little rookie matchup. But yeah, I mean, Barney, I think you're the only one to watch this because the Packers and Vikings are going on at the same time. I don't know if did you have anything else to add? Did you see any positives? Can you give me a little taste or positive? I don't think you can. It was pretty bad.
Big C, you're not getting anything from me in terms of positives. But I tried. It was an ugly game. But on our preview for last week, I took Indianapolis laying the points as one of my best bets. I didn't see the game going quite like this. Nobody, sees 40 points scored in bunches like the Colts did, but I thought for the most part DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard were going to put a clamp down on your offense. I didn't think you guys were going to come in and have a game regardless, but I don't know. It seems from you that you still believe in the team and its ability to maybe get close. Maybe that second wild card, which is interesting. But
I do.
Hey, I don't want to kick a man when he's down, so I'll let you just belly up.
Just the last couple of things. I mean, this game was like a strip sack away from being a completely different game. Like Stafford doesn't have that situation to throw the pick six he's in. The Lions are playing with the lead late in the middle of the fourth quarter. It's a completely different game. But it did happen, and we shit the bed badly. Oh, boy. And the last thing I want to note is Kenny Galladay. Hip issue. Left the game middle of the second quarter, I believe. And it doesn't look good. He looked really bad limping off the field.
Uh-oh.
He was already struggling in practice, I guess. He tried to play through this, so I don't know. It's not looking good. When Kenny Galladay's played a full game, the Lions are 3-1. When he hasn't, 0-3 this year. So he's a giant difference maker for this offense, and without him, it becomes a completely different game plan, completely different approach. T.J. Hawkinson 7 catches for 65 yards. So that was good, at least, to see him heavily utilized. No touchdowns, though, Barney. No touchdowns. But that's all we'll have for the Lions. So I'm just praying that Kenny Galladay can get healthy somehow, and the Lions can turn it around against the Vikings next week. But we'll get to that later. Let's touch on the last game of the evening. The Bears. Barney. Brutal. Overtime. The Bears get to a 50-yard field goal situation. Their kicker makes the field goal. Chicago's like, finally, we got a kicker. And then they lost in overtime. Let's go through this.
Yeah. My heart goes out to the entire Chicago fan base. We have to watch this fucking product week in, week out, decade in. It's the same team. We only have a defense. We are absolute trash on offense. Poor Virginia McCaskey. She's 900 years old, and she's being taken advantage of by Ted Phillips, the president, and Ryan Pace. I mean, these people need to be held accountable. Nagy, before the coin is even flipped, we're fighting an uphill battle. And I want to try to break things down here. I'm so scatterbrained. I want to make sure I get all my thoughts out here, but it bothers me that we can trot out a line like we did today, where we had Leno, Coward, Mustipher, Ifedi, and Massey. Massey goes down, so Spriggs takes his spot, and then Spriggs goes down for a couple plays, and things are just like, we're coming up on the trade deadline. There's nothing being, there's not a lot of talk being said. Pace is out there, quoted saying that he's confident in our backups' abilities, Coward and Mustafer and Spriggs to be competent players. Dude, it was so bad and it was so early on. I almost laugh during these games. It's like a comedy hour. Rashad Coward got absolutely bamboozled by just a very elementary stunt that the D-line pulled on him, like the one where the defensive tackle goes out towards the offensive tackle and the edge rusher slips on through and goes up through the guard spot. They broke it down and the announcers were just laughing because Rashad Coward acted like he'd never seen that trickery before. And he went chasing after that defensive tackle, which just led Nick Foles to getting absolutely pulverized. I feel bad for Nick Foles. He didn't play a great game at all, and I won't defend. I think he had some bad decisions out there, but I wouldn't want to be the Bears quarterback with the bullshit that they're putting out in front of him. We're just absolutely outcoached in every phase of the game. Nagy is such a fucking idiot. I mean, he's a real estate agent. He's a real estate agent that got back into football and is now the fucking coach of the Bears, and he is so bad. That's
a former coach of the year right there, Barney. That's a former NFL coach of the year.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. That's because we had an ungodly 28 turnovers that year, and club dub, and the defense was crazy. But let me just
wait, Barney. Before what do you mean real estate agent? I don't think I catch on to that.
Yeah, he was a real estate agent before he got back into.
Was he really?
He was with like Coldwell and Baker or whatever the hell that shit. Like he before Andy Reid got on the phone with him because Andy Reid kept having all of his assistants being snagged for head coaching jobs, right? So, we're back in, and after the game, he's talking. He had two quotes and really pissed me off, because the Bears media they don't ask the tough questions. They just let mediocrity skate by. Here's something he said. He said, "We can't be perfect out there as an offense. New Orleans wasn't perfect, and they're still walking away with the W. Let me tell you guys, when this offense gets clicking, and we're close, but when we get clicking, we're going to be a hard team to stop. Nagy, you are in year 3. You fucking suck. Your offense sucks. When we start clicking, what are you talking about, dude? You've had like 50 games when we start clicking. And we just let this shit go. We just let him come in each week and do the dumb ass fucking calls. And I'll explain. His next quote, he says, our personnel out there, we've got guys that once we get into the red zone that we know are playmakers. And we feel good about the personnel that we're able to bring out in those situations. We got into the red zone again. We got into like the 12-yard line. And he immediately subs out Jimmy Graham. And he subs out David Montgomery. And he puts in Cordero Patterson. Yes. And his playmaking, his foresight makes him do a reverse with Anthony Miller. And it gets stuffed. And the next play gets stuffed. And he's sitting here like, it's these plays are great plays that I'm calling. It's just not working out. No shit. He's so in over his head. He is so fucking dumb. It kills me. But we're outcoached. You guys all saw it. We're absolutely struggling as an offense for the last, 30 years. And here we go. We have the ball, and Javon Wims decides, because Anthony Miller got poked in the face.
Oh, yes. I was hoping you bring this up. Yes.
That he's going to go over there and cheap shot him. Like, dude, Javon Wims, have a clue. If you're going to hit anybody, go hit Nagy in the fucking face. No, but for the life of me, I don't understand why you would ever punch somebody who has a helmet on.
I know. That's just the funniest thing. I love when people do it. I just laugh.
I mean, we're just out-coached in every phase of the game. And then you got Tariq Cohen, tweeting during the game, something like, it was like word for word, it was like, Juice, as in Javon Wims, Juice is on one, I'm with him, like, fuck out of here with that bullshit, or something like that. And it's like, no, Tariq, you moron. No, like, we're not okay. That's not an okay thing to do. We are, I don't know if we were quite winning because it was right in the third quarter. I think we still might have been up a field goal at the time. But it's like, we shoot ourselves in the foot. And I'm real scared about the future because, we're playing hardball right now with Allen Robinson. And I'm watching his body language. I don't think he wants to sign anymore. I don't think he wants to be on the Bears. They zoomed in on him walking, 70 yards away from the offense, huddling up on the sideline, and he's talking to himself. You could tell he's agitated. He's coming off a short week with a concussion. He's week in, week out, one of the only bright spots. And he made some just tremendous plays, some great catches, and we can't do anything though because we're out coached in every phase of the game, and it's a joke, dude. But I gotta say though, before the game started, in my preview, I pretty much sized up the Saints and said this isn't gonna be a game where we should really expect a win here, and yet our defense doesn't play, phenomenal, but they did enough.
Can you go over the end of the first half there? I thought that's a big drive right there by the Saints at the end of the first half. They just let Jared Cook the play before even that touchdown, Jared Cook was wide open, and Drew Brees just missed him. And the next play is even more wide open. That's over the middle of the field. What are the Bears doing over the middle of the field there? I didn't understand their defensive play calling there.
No, nobody did. But that whole entire drive, I think they had like a minute to go down the field, and we just had soft coverage, and we were just letting 15-yard throws right in front of us. Like, why are we in prevent like this? Yeah, first off, we need to get a little bit more pressure on the opposing quarterback. I know that we can get a quality amount of pressure out there while just rushing 3 people or 4 people. But, like, we don't have to rely on just that. Like, if we're just dropping back in zone and letting people get 20-yard catches just, like, in front of us, there's no reason why we're not at least sending somebody else after the quarterback to make sure he's not as comfortable. But, I thought the defense played really well outside of that drive, to be honest. They were the only reason, again, that we were in this game. The Saints, as an offense, it doesn't matter if Michael Thomas is in or not. They're averaging more than 30 points a game, and I thought we played well enough. And here's the thing about the Bears. To me, we're in terms of effort and just playing an overall good game, I think we're 0-8. We're 0-8 in that factor. We have not put out a good game that we can be proud of. And yet we're still 5-3, which kind of makes me, all right with it and see the silver lining. But it's just bullshit. I don't know. It just subbing out our true red zone guys once we get in there and putting in people that are just incredibly undependable. Towards the end of the game, we're trying to make plays and march down the field. We're in overtime. And we have 2 consecutive plays where Anthony Miller drops one right in his chest, and then the next play, Jimmy Graham drops one in his chest. And we take 40 seconds off the clock when there was like 4 minutes left, and we give the Saints another shot, and that's what did it. But I gotta say, besides the defense, which I thought played well, I thought A-Rod played really well. I thought Mooney played well.
Mooney looked really good. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, and I like that. He's another one of Pace's 5th-round picks that I think is going to, establish himself as a mainstay here. But, somebody I really want to give a shout out to, Cairo Santos, man. Like, today, I know, like, after we got iced on that 51-yarder and they're talking about the wind in our face and stuff like that, man, he stepped up to the plate and he drilled both of those. He drilled every field goal he took. And I'm feeling a whole lot more confident in our kicking game now, which, does a lot, right, for our offense and not having to go for silly fourth down conversions like we've done the last 2 years, because that's just been a hole in our game plan. But, as a defense, we held the Saints to 2 out of 13 third down conversions, and we still lost the game. Like, that is so crazy of a stat. And it's because we run Arena League football on offense, and nobody has the stones to say, hey, Nagy, I'm just going to say this to you right now. You're not a good play caller. You aren't good. You don't understand personnel. You don't even know what you have. You need to give it up. And until something like that happens, I'm going to have just bare bones confidence going into each game.
What was it last week? He said he thought he was calling plays really well, and which means that it's just execution. It's
he said,
but the coach's job is to put players in the best position to succeed, which he's clearly not doing.
Nagy has all the buzzwords, man, and I roll my eyes every time he opens his mouth. This stupid bald-headed fuck.
Maybe that's how he got the job. Maybe he's threw buzzwords out in the interviews. I don't know.
Well, yeah, Ted Phillips and Ryan Pace are morons, so that doesn't surprise me. But I don't know. It's just he said one of the quotes he said, that you're referring to is he said, one of the guys mentioned, hey, is this, are you gonna maybe have conversations with your staff about play calling moving forward? And he said, you know what? We have conversations each week. Every day we're having those conversations, and that's not where we feel that we have, a deficiency here. We don't believe it's in the play calling, so we're not really entertaining that thought right now. And it's just like, dude, this isn't just like this game that we did bad. It's the past straight 50 games, man. I don't know. It's just, it's hard for me to just spew the same fucking shit week in and week out.
Well, Barney, I'm gonna you get the next challenge of going to Tennessee next week and facing the Titans. Coming off a loss to the Bengals, but still a really tough team, especially on the road. So where the NFL standings stand at right now, the Packers are still the 2 seed, Kinger, despite this game. They have the tiebreaker over the Saints at 5-2. The Bears are the 8th seed right now. The season ended today at 5-3. Lions are in 10th right now at 3-4, and then the Vikings 2-5 sitting 14th. But Remy says they have a 4% chance to make it, so don't count them out yet.
That's right.
Can't write them off. And after today, you can almost write off the Lions. But I'm going to say have faith. I'm going to say Lions have a 6% chance to make it over Remy's 4%. So, oh boy. Well, when is the Bears bye week, Barney? Is it in 2 weeks? 3 weeks? Early December?
I think it's later. I think it's like around like 11 or 12, to be honest.
Okay. They could probably use one with all the injuries they got going on. It's nice to have that late bye week, not like the early one like the Lions and Packers had.
Yeah, you guys got the Titans next week, then the Vikings, Barney, and then you guys got the bye heading into the Green Bay game after Thanksgiving.
Oh, the Bears get to play the Green Bay off a bye?
Yeah, yep. They get
wow.
Bears that way. Yep.
That works out really nicely for them.
We'll come out flat. We never play well after a bye week. We never play well after a bye week.
Nagy fires up the troops, right? No?
Dude, I swear to God, if I see Nagy out and about, I know it's a long shot.
Give him a noogie on the bald head.
I will give him a Javon Wims to the face so bad, and it's just brutal. The only thing that's going to help the Bears is if our coaching staff doesn't show up, and actually just doesn't make the trip. I would love, like in Madden, how it says Ask Madden, like what plays. I wish there could be like a Ask the Audience, and we could all vote on what play each week gets recorded into Nick Foles, because I would like our chances better than what, that visor wearing douchebag calls out there.
Oh boy. I want to know something about the Lions at least. This is the first time in franchise history since 1956 when they won the NFL championship. The last time I think they won an NFL championship that they scored 21 or more points to start a season. So 7 games in a row they scored 21 or more points. Doesn't mean much when you're 3-4, but I just want to throw out that stat. Yeah. Not a great week for the NFC North except for Remy's Vikings.
Skull.
And just in general, a lot of upsets in the NFL today. The Bengals over the Titans. There's a few more. I can't remember off the top of my head. Rams losing on the road to the Dolphins. Things of that nature. But it was an interesting week. We're all just angry except for Remy. But we will be back later this week. The Packers have a Thursday night game, so we'll try to get out. We'll probably get out that episode on Thursday morning for you. We'll be previewing that game and everything else upcoming in Week 9 of the NFL season. So thank you, everybody, for listening. This is the Pylon FC North podcast. Please follow us on Instagram at the Pylon. Yep, that's all we got on Instagram. And then please subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We're also available on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Be safe. Go out, vote this week, and we'll be back with an episode on Thursday for you. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Bear down.